we have a very special presentation where we're going to be talking about what you really need to do in order to power up your profits. And I really like to call this the power of seven. And we all know seven means a lot of things, but it especially means completion. And it's one of the things that as entrepreneurs, we struggle with the most. So let me just start with a quick introduction for those of you who don't know who I am. Of course, my name is Danielle Patterson Winningham. I'm a former JP Morgan Chase Vice President, Master Life and Master Business Coach. And over the last 10 years, we've had the honor and the privilege of being able to generate quite a bit of money in this internet space. It's a blessing, but it's also something that I truly feel that each and every one of us have an opportunity right now to replicate if we follow the right path. And so one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight is very near and dear to entrepreneurs, although the truth about it is that the mass majority of them don't focus on it like they should. You know, this internet space is tricky. When I first started, everybody told me that social media was the most important thing, and that then people said building a team was the most important thing. Some days people say branding is the most important thing. Come on, name something in the chat that you've heard is the number one thing when it comes to making money on the internet. Some people say, oh, it's your product. You got to have the right product. That's the most important thing. Some people say, oh, it's your marketing. Oh, you got to have a sales funnel. Oh, if you ain't got a sales funnel, you ain't going to make no money. But the very truth of the matter, oh, you got to have a website. You got to have the right product. So what if I were to tell you that from my point of view, when it comes to really making money online, all those things are relative, but they're not the most important thing. See, the truth about all of those things is that if you're not careful, just as important as they are to your business, they will be your demise if you focus on them so much that you lose sight of the main thing. And the one main thing that has the capacity to make you a profitable business owner, to sustain you in good times and bad, is focusing on what? What's the main thing? Come on now, who knows? What's the one main thing? Come on now. No. There's people that grow their audience into the millions and still don't do this one thing. Come on now. And you know, it's true because the fact that you guys are having such a hard time coming up with it means that I'm onto something. It's your profits. It is your profits. It's not how much money you make. It's how much money you take home. And it doesn't matter how you make it, whether you have a website or not. I know people that don't have a website. As a matter of fact, I made my first 6 figures without a website because I was focused on my profits. Everything else helps you and contributes to your profits. But the number one thing that'll keep you in business is that laser focus on your profits by holding yourself and everything, every minute of time you spend accountable to bringing money home. Did that make a connection to anybody? Because see, if you start your day, and this is most entrepreneurs do not start their day saying, where is my money coming home today? Where am I going to generate revenue today? That is the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make. They wake up saying things like, what am I going to post on social media? Well, if you're going to post on social media and you're not going to make any money, what good is it? They wake up saying things like, I need to make sure I finish my funnel today. But if you finish your funnel today and you don't make any money, what good is it? They say things like, I need to create more product and I need to grow my team, but you're doing all of that. And guess what you have not done yet? Somebody tell me in the chat. You've made all of these things the cream of your crop. You've made all of these things high priority, and you've yet to make any money. You've yet to bring home a profit. So if you don't get anything else out of this webinar, believe me when I tell you that you need to align in some type of coaching program that is profit forward. Conversations need to be had early and often about generating revenue. The first thing on your mind before you, as you wake up and log in for work in the morning, and the last thing on your mind before you go to bed should be, where am I going to get some money from? How many of you see that this is a mistake that you're making? Be honest. Because see, the truth will set you free, but you got to acknowledge the lie first. And you're over there working on colors, and you're over there working on emails, and you're working on everything except for, where is my money going to come from today? Which brings me to a very hard question for everyone here. Are you settling for just enough, or are you willing to power up? You know, I had one of the hardest conversations in my life today. And without going into the details that may be embarrassing to this individual, let's just say they've fallen on hard times. And because I feel that God gives us blessings to help people, I reached out. Well, they reached out to me for help, and I accepted the offer. And I said, Lord, you know, I'm going to help them until I can discern why it is they're where they are. Why is it that they've fallen on such hard times? Now, keep in mind, y'all, I'm non-judgmental. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to spend my money to help you, then at that point, I do have a right, you know, to speak my opinion about things. And so for the last week and a half, I've watched this individual. And I've watched them move very slow when it comes to opportunities. I've watched this individual make a lot of excuses when it comes to where they are. I've watched this individual basically be uncoachable. And I've watched this individual settle for a life of less than. And my last question to this individual was, I think you're more comfortable with your situations than I am. And to me, that was a sad situation. But it was also a testimony as to can be a champion for you if you're not a champion for yourself. No one can champion you if you're not willing to go above and beyond for yourself. So we have to be the champion for ourselves, to which that question is, are you settling for just enough? Or are you willing to power up? And let me tell you something. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be living okay. But you know, it doesn't take much for okay to become unsettled. Does everybody understand that? You could be living okay today, and tomorrow the roof get knocked out from over you. So don't get so settled in okay and not be powering up. Are you settling for a job? Are you settling for not having coaching because you claim you can't afford it, instead of going out and doing whatever it takes to get the help you need? Are you settling? And see, one of the reasons I don't judge is because that individual I was speaking of earlier, I know that it doesn't take much that any of us could be in that position. I just pray that I take advantage of every opportunity God sets in front of me so that I don't end up there. And do you know the number one way not to end up in a situation you don't want to be in? What's the number one way to not end up in a situation that you don't want to be in? What's the number one way not to lose your house? What's the number one way not to lose your car? What's the number one way not to be at a job for the rest of your life? You got to focus on your profits. You've got to focus on generating revenue. Some of you guys are so busy in business being busy that you're not focused on the bottom line. You know, what if I told you that the sky's the limit? There's no amount of money that I feel that you could not, no one is limiting your earnings, put it that way. Nobody tells you you're relegated to just making $100,000. No one's telling you you can only make $500,000. Nobody's telling you that once you get to $1 million, you got to stop. Do you know that you can make as much money as you can figure out how? I want to hear you say yes and claim that in the chat. See, we start talking about money and you guys shut down. We start talking about money and you ain't got nothing to say. You need to be over there hooping and hollering and claiming this abundance. You need to be over there excited, tripping over yourself. That you don't have any limits. My grandmother was limited by her color and her gender. My mother was limited by her era and her circumstance. I have no limits. I'm not limited by my gender. I'm not limited by my color, but I am limited by my mindset. I am limited by what I'm willing to do to move myself to the next level. And God showed me something today that really re-energized me, because I said, my God, with as much abundance around, why would anybody not have it? Why would anybody position themselves in a way that they have to struggle? And the truth of the matter is, we've all done it. And some of us are doing it now. We've all done it. I need somebody to talk to me. We've all worked a job that was less than. We've all robbed Peter to pay Paul. We've all done it. But at some point, you got to say to yourself, no matter what it takes, no more. No matter what it takes, no more. No matter what I have to sacrifice, I won't let myself get in this position anymore. And as a business owner, that means you got to be honest with yourself about, are you powering up every day, or are you settling for just enough? So let's talk about the 7 ways you need to power up. Is everybody ready? If you're ready, go ahead and say 7 in the chat. I want to make sure you're ready for this, because some of y'all may just be hanging out. Some of y'all may not be ready for what's about to come, because what's about to come can honestly change your life. If you're open, if you're listening, I don't see them in the 7s. If you're ready. The biggest mistake entrepreneurs, now we already know that the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make is their profits and not focusing on them. But by far, the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make with their profits is that they're underpriced. Would you guys agree? For everybody that's here, I could probably look at your pricing and tell you exactly where you're missing the mark. But underpricing looks like a lot of different things. Number one, underpricing looks like you don't charge people because you feel like they can't afford it. Ouch. How many times have you limited the price tag on a product or service because you felt like the person that you're trying to sell it to couldn't afford it? How many times have you dropped the prices on something that you knew should have been more expensive? But oh, you didn't want that single mother. You didn't want that family to struggle. You didn't want that. And so you dropped the price. One of the main lessons I teach my clients is mindset and not adopting other people's money problems. You see, money is a problem for some people, but only the people that allow it to be a problem for them. I want you to ride with me real quick. I want you just to think. The time you get up every morning is a choice. The activities you do every day to earn money, they're a choice. How many of those activities you do every day, it's a choice. Where you spend your money, eating out, the grocery store, and how you spend your money is a choice. You see, I've sacrificed to get here. And that's why I don't make excuses for what my products and my services cost. Because at the end of the day, it really and truly is up to the individual who needs my help to make whatever sacrifices are necessary for them to change their life. And if they can't work hard in order to be able to afford automation and coaching and advertising and the things that are mandatory for them to move to the next level, they're not going to work hard when they get it. Somebody say, ouch. It's all hard work. So what people can afford is not your business, because the person that really needs your product and service will find a way. And the person that doesn't really want it or doesn't really need it or is not ready to make that sacrifice will find an excuse. And we're all the same. Guys, I've had to cater and keep kids, host events, and everything else to put my kids through private school. Didn't everybody else have the same opportunity? People choose to send their kids to public school. I chose not. And even when they told me it was going to cost the same amount, I was 24 years old, making $24,000 a year. Private school for my kids cost $25,000 a year, and I still found a way to pay it. Why, y'all? Tell me how somebody, single mother with 3 kids, only making $25,000 a year, can find a way to make payments of $25,000 a year. How, guys? Because it was what I wanted to do, because it was important to me. And when your products and services, because you make a way for what you want, you're absolutely right, Makisha. And when your products and services become important to you, to your clients, they'll find a way to pay you. And lowering the prices is not going to help. Another way to power up your prices is to power up your products. Many of you only have one product that may cost anywhere from $20 to $100. I always say everyone should have what we call a Kim Kardashian product. That is that high-end celebrity, top of the line. If she called you tomorrow and asked for one, what would you charge her? And you may say, well, Coach, that's not fair to charge her more. Because if I cook pecan pies, why would I charge Kim Kardashian more for a pie? Kim ain't gonna just want no pie, y'all. Kim gonna want that pie brought to her front door. She may even want you to fly to her kitchen and cook that pie. And when you don't have pricing for all of that, you're gonna tell her $100, and you're gonna go you'll end up going in your pocket to serve a celebrity. I've seen it happen too many times. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? When you don't have a variety of products to serve a variety of people, and that's what I teach my clients. Products range from the small at 20 to 100, to the medium 100 to 1,000, to the large 1,000 to 5,000, all the way up to the ginormous at $25,000 and $50,000. Somebody somewhere has the money to pay for that. But if you're not willing to invest to learn how to create products at that level and of that caliber, you'll never have them. And so you're going to be always losing money. Do you believe that somebody has probably turned you down before because you were too inexpensive? I never understood that until recently. I had a lady tell me, she said, you know, I've been waiting on you to launch a package that would do everything for us because I don't want to do anything. And when I told her that package was $50,000, she didn't blink. So you may say to yourself, well, Coach, I don't have a package that I could sell for $25,000, $50,000. That's my job to help you create that. But you got to be willing to invest to get what you don't know. And even if you only sold 2 or 3 a year, you're going to be making more money than the average entrepreneur. The average entrepreneur, the average female entrepreneur only makes about $50,000 a year in their business. And the average African-American female entrepreneur only makes about $25,000 a year in their business. Isn't that horrible? And why is that? It's because of some of these reasons I'm listing right here. So when you're ready to make that change because you know you're leaving so much money on the table, you're leaving so much opportunity on the table, and this internet world as it is right now is not going to always exist this way. The pandemic has sped internet marketing light years ahead. People who were nowhere near considering ordering groceries online or making purchases online have been forced to do so. So trust when I say you do not want to get left behind. You don't. But you got to know how to do it right. You got to power up your branding. Now, don't get me confused. Branding is not the most important thing about making profits. In fact, there are some people with some very, I don't want to say ugly, I want to say just, just not top level branding. But because they have processes in place and they're consistent with their marketing, they still make a lot of money. But the truth is, you got to look like money to make money. And that means you need to invest in not just color schemes and graphics, but in the thought process behind them. You've got to look like money. I'm reminded of the story when Payless did that mock store in a high-end mall where they changed their name to Palessi and skyrocketed the price of the shoes. But they didn't look like a regular Payless store. There weren't shoes in there all in boxes. They had those shoes on pedestals, and they had all kinds of Italian statues in there and all kind of different clay busts, and it looked like a high-end store. And because it looked like a high-end store, and because it looked like money, people were willing to come in there and spend money. And when asked about the quality of the shoes, they talked about how high-end these shoes were, even though these were the same shoes. So your branding has got to make sense, and it's got to look like money, and it's got to look like what the brand stands for. But a lot of people, this is their biggest mistake. They put their branding before the bank account. And you should never do that. I talked to a lady one day that said, "Oh, I'm ready to launch." I said, "Are you now?" She said, "Yep, I've got my business cards and I've got me a website and I've got the door hangers that hang on your car." I said, "Great. Well, what's your marketing plan?" She said, "I don't have that." I said, "What's your profit plan?" "I don't have that." "What's your advertising budget?" "Nope." "Lead magnet?" "Nope." "Who's your target audience?" "Nope." "What are your brand colors?" "What's your brand stand for?" "What's your brand voice?" No. Not one thing. Are any of you amazed by that? If you are, say wow in the chat. Not one thing that mattered. But she thought she was ready to go. And this is what frustrates people, and it makes people want to give up. But I don't understand why people don't realize that starting a business is arguably one of the most difficult things you will ever do. Number one. And number two, that you need expert help so that you're not spending your time on the wrong things or money. I think she said she spent $500 on business cards. I don't think I've given out a business card since 2016. Think about it. When's the last time anybody ever even called you from a business card. So you got to power up your branding. You got to understand what it takes to get in front of, to the next point, powering up your targeting, the right people. There's so many people out there just trying to sell products to anybody with money. Who's your target audience? I asked a lady one time, she sold, I'm not going to say the name brand, but she sold beauty products for women. Multi-level marketing product. And I said, well, she said, we got this new lotion. I said, okay, great. I said, so who's your target? She said, anybody with skin. Can we talk about that real quick? Do you use the same lotion on a baby that you use on a construction worker? When you go into the average bathroom, about how many lotions do you see? Do you use the same lotion on someone with dry skin that you use on somebody with oily skin? Do you use the same lotion on an aging woman that you use on a teenager? But in her mind, her product was so good that anybody could use it. So, and it's not that she didn't know the ingredients. It's just that she didn't take the time to know who it was that lotion was developed for. And so in trying to sell to everybody, she sold to no one. If you want to power up your profits, you need to know exactly who you're creating your product for. You got to eat, sleep, and breathe that client. You got to know what their fears and concerns are. You got to know how they want to live their life. What are their hopes and dreams? How are they living right now? How is this product going to change their life? And when you don't know those things, you're just throwing mud up against the wall and hoping it sticks. See, you could have the best product in the world, but if you're over there baking pecan pies for somebody allergic to nuts, if you're over there trying to sell sand in the desert, water in the middle of a lake, are y'all listening to me? And this is exactly what some of you guys are doing because of lack of knowledge. And because you don't know how to really create a persona, and it's not age range. This is for women 30 to 45, because not all women 5 are created the same. Not all women 30 to 35 are created the same. Shoot, even all women 30 years old are not created the same. That's lazy and it's wrong. And many of you have been taught how to target people incorrectly for a very long time. And it's time for you to get a real knowledge on how to really target people so that they feel connected to your product and they're willing to buy your stuff. And that, my friends, is what makes people buy. And Edith, that's something I teach you because that is a very confusing question you're asking. Edith said, so you need strong targeting for each level of products, right? Each pricing point doesn't have the same target audience, but it does. It does. And that's why I teach what I teach. Because you'll never, it'll take you 10 years to figure out, just like it took me 10 years to figure it out. And so that's why targeting is so significant. But again, you can't spend all of your time there. Once you create a persona for that client one time, understand what that client really wants and needs, everything else you do to earn profit is going to be based on the wants and needs of that client. Which brings us to the next. We got to power up our automation, guys. And Aisha, I've broken it down for you before, so you know it makes sense. But guys, you got to power up your automation, because one of the biggest things that happens to us as women is we get tired. We start a business, and just say me if this has ever happened to you. We start a business, we get busy at work, we got to stop. We start a business, one of the kids gets sick, we got to stop. We start a business, we got to care for our parents, we got to stop. We start a business, our husband loses his job, we got to stop. We start a business, we get sick, we got to stop. We don't have any level of continuity beyond us getting up to do it ourselves. And we've got to stop that. And we've got to stop it sooner rather than later. And the only way is through automation. We've got to have things in place that work even when we don't. And a word to the wise is sufficient. Listen, we're not super women. We're not. And every time you have to start over, believe it or not, you got to start at ground zero. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. When you don't have the bandwidth to be consistent in focusing in your business, every time you start over, you lose ground. You lose all that ground. Does anybody understand what I'm saying? You lose all that ground you had before you stopped. Part of the key to getting to an upper echelon in earnings is consistency. We were talking earlier about Steve Harvey and how much money he makes, and the fact that it's him a Rolls Royce for his birthday a few years ago is relative to how much money they make. By the same token, look at how many years he's been doing it, how consistently, and how much he sacrificed. He was willing to sleep in his car back before sleeping in your car was cool. Because nowadays I'm finding out a lot of people think sleeping in their car, that's the way to go. Many people are okay with it. But look at how much he was willing to sacrifice. So guys, that means that what? You're gonna have to dig your heels in and sacrifice something while you can. I want you to type those 3 words in. While you can. Because it lasts forever. Not your energy, not your ideas, not this marketplace. You got to do these things while you can. And sometimes maybe you don't see the money that you need to get started. Sometimes you got to get started in faith and let that money develop as you go. But no one and nothing lasts forever. Hand in hand, the same way that most entrepreneurs don't focus enough on their profits, the mass majority of entrepreneurs do not have a marketing plan nor a profit plan, meaning you don't know where you're going to get your money in the next day, week, quarter, half year, or year. You don't have it in writing. You don't have goals next to it. You don't know how many of what unit you're going to sell. You're not operating like a business. There's so many people out there teaching you that this internet is like this whole get rich quick place, and it's not. It's more like a farm where you plant the seeds, and first you till the soil, and then you plant the seeds, and then you fertilize them, you water them, you make sure you put some make sure they're in a good sunny location, and make sure you don't have any bugs in the weeds. Make sure you keep the weeds from choking them out. It's more a labor of love than it is instant. And so no one's teaching you that this plain old ink pen and a sheet of paper to carve out, number one, how much money you're going to make, and number two, how you're going to make it, is one of the most instrumental things you can do. In fact, my mentees, we're going all the way back to the basics. Every single month, we're going to do a profit planning session and a marketing planning session for the next month. And this is not something that you can just go do on your own if you don't know the formula. So it's important that you have not just a marketing plan and a profit plan, but that they're professionally created and that you refer to them often and you create new ones each month. You know, all of these things are staunch contributors to your ability to be able to generate more revenue. I'm going to leave you with two bonuses that if you're smart, you'll take advantage of. Number one is none of these things are brain surgery. But you do have to sow a seed to get the knowledge necessary to do these things correctly. Because guess what? The wrong automation is going to cost you as much as my coaching. The wrong targeting is going to cost you as much as my coaching. The wrong branding, the wrong marketing. You're literally leaving what it costs for my coaching times 10 on the table. So that's number one. Sow a seed to power up your knowledge. And number two, power up your focus on the right things. Stop chasing TikTok and all of these daily fads or whatever's new on social media, and sit still and really have a plan to move the needle on your profits. And when you get that plan, stick to it and execute that plan. And don't let the next best thing knock you off that plan. And if you're ready to do something differently, go to bit.ly/Black Girl Profits Call, schedule a call with me and my team, and be ready to move your needle to the next level. Again, we've got something at each level, but the level I'm going to suggest for you is not necessarily going to be the most inexpensive level. It's going to be the level that moves your needle the way you want to move your needle to live your life differently. So I hope this helps somebody have a different way of focusing on your business. And I appreciate you guys spending time. Again, go to bit.ly/Black Girl Profits Call to schedule a call with my team today. And let's look at how we can help you power up your profits. Love you guys. Have a great evening.